shot at night at times, and I can't remember what scene it was we were doing, but me and Johnny were doing something, and Ted, the director, so it was like 3 a.m, and Ted would just sit there and go, action, and we'd do the scene, and he would just go, cut. Not funny. And we would do it again until Ted thought it was funny, or we cut it.
Everyone, please give a big round of applause for the Weekend at Bernie's team.
Welcome, gentlemen.
Hi.
How's the con treating you guys so far?
Buffalo!
I want to start by saying I once watched Weekend at Bernie's 4 times in one day.
That's a day well spent.
It is. It was very well spent. So, very excited to be here with you, gentlemen. Let's start with at the beginning.
Did you do a lot of drugs?
Not denied. Let's start at the beginning. How did you each get to the role in Weekend at Bernie's? How did you each the casting process?
Andy,
come on. He's
Andy
the
just
star.
said,
He
what?
was the star.
How much? Okay, I'll be there.
Originally, it was called Hot and Cold, the movie. And so I was sent a script for this movie called Hot and Cold, and I just thought it was really incredibly stupid. And so I said, sure. It was pretty easy. Yeah. And I think I met Ted and chatted with Ted Kochev, the director, and he was very kind of open to everything, any ridiculous idea we had. And that's how I got involved. I just read it. And luckily, someone along the way changed the title to Weekend at Bernie's.
Thank goodness.
Terry, how about yourself?
I had to fight so hard to get this role. Unlike Andy. Yeah, I had to fight. It was only like my 3rd or 4th paying job. So yeah, I auditioned for it many times, and I don't even know if you know this, Andy. They narrowed it down to me and someone else, and they didn't know which one of us would play which particular role. So they had a screen test for both roles. So I even auditioned for your role. And the other actor was a fine actor who Andy has worked with, and don't feel bad for him for not getting this job because he's richer than all of us. It was John Cryer. So John and I were supposed to do this movie, and then I guess Fox said, yeah, those guys are fine, but let's offer it to a real movie star first, and let's see if he'll say yes or no. And they offered it to Andy, and he said yes. And then they had to decide who they're getting rid of from Silverman and Cryer, and I said okay.
Obviously, my 2 stars were cast first, so I was the last one. And they said, can you come in? And I had just been in a little motorcycle accident, so my head was shaved a little bit. And I said, well, I can't audition. I got a bald spot in my head. Well, you think you're right for it? Well, I got a bald spot. So a month goes by, I don't shave and everything, and they're in New York now. They said, Terry, they're in New York trying to cast it. Please, can you come in? I said, I'll come in. And I started shaving, and I never had a mustache before, and I don't know why. I knew these, and the mustache kind of reached out to these guys on the side because I knew, and to this day, I think the mustache got the job.
So that's a lesson to all you kids. See if you can get in some motorcycle accidents.
We don't have a ton of time with the gentlemen, so I want to bring out the questions in the audience immediately. So who's got questions?
I wanted to ask all 3, which scene between the 2 movies was the hardest to do?
Hardest to do, Terry.
Well, there were sometimes we shot at night at times, and I can't remember what scene it was we were doing, but me and Johnny were doing something, and Ted, the director, so it was like 3 a.m, and Ted would just sit there and go, action, and we'd do the scene, and he would just go, cut. Not funny. And we would do it again until Ted thought it was funny, or we cut it. So I don't remember which that was, but that happened often in the middle of the night, just sort of like that. But there was a lot of stuff, though, that was just sort of impulsive and fun. it's the most fun I ever had making a movie. So I don't know that since
I think what brought us all together and stuff, we all were like amateur golfers and loved to play golf. But we couldn't play because we were in every shot together. So the only time we could play golf was when it rained. And all of a sudden, it's raining. Come on, let's go play golf. And I think what that did is it kind of gave us a bond together of trusting each other, of having fun. And we just had the whole idea of let's just try to break up each other and have fun with this thing. And I think the improvisatory approach to this thing kept it fresh and alive, like we didn't know what we were doing next, which we didn't.
Next question.
Hi. So I've been watching the two movies over again. We're thinking to myself, like, I don't really know if there's a lot of bloopers or outtakes out there. But it made me wonder if, like, was there ever any movie? Was there any? It made me wonder, was there ever a time you try to mess with Terry, like try to get him to break character, or if he would mess with you too, like you getting too used to that he's dead and no, he's here, like messing with you on the side or something like that?
Terry never broke. Never. It was like we would try, and he would just sit there. And I could never get it. Ever.
No, we were always just so worried for him because I mean, we all know how to do various stunts, but if you're playing a dead corpse, your body's going to take a beating, and you can't do anything to prevent your fall. So you had how many cracked ribs?
Yeah, 3 cracked ribs and a vertebrae jammed to my neck. And the director, this Ted Kotcheff, was a crazy man, and we all realized that. And so what saved my life, and these guys suggested it to me. To say, when Ted, all right, well, we're just going to pull you behind a wagon and then you bounce your head. I said, I don't understand what you're saying. And he said, what? I said, I don't understand what you, if you could show me, I think maybe I could understand this. And their suggestion, it saved a lot of wreckage on the set and hurtness. And it started getting a little bit better. Remember when he threw that phone out into the middle of the thing? He was totally berserk, because we couldn't get a shot or something like this, and we were trying our best. And said, "No, I don't like." And he threw his phone walkie-talkie out in the middle of
into the ocean. It was the AD's walkie-talkie. If you're an AD on a movie, the walkie-talkie is your life. Always. So he just took the AD's walkie and just chucked it. Okay, I guess that's a wrap.
What's your question, dear?
First of all, this film is probably one of the best examples of physical comedy that I've ever seen. So thank you all for your performance. My question is, since much of the program was improv, what was your favorite bit that made it to film?
Johnny?
John?
It's hard to come up with a favorite, and a lot was improvised. The script was very solid. It was a very funny concept, but all the physical gags were sort of created. We had a very rare rehearsal period before the film in New York, and that's when we started to work on these gags and tie your shoelaces together and how do we carry them. And we were just given a lot of opportunity, and Andrew came up with so much funny stuff. I mean, I was kind of the straight guy in the movie, and Andrew was the the one playing the
idiot.
The idiot.
My favorite thing is to cut Johnny off. There was this scene where me and Bernie play Monopoly, and I cheat Bernie at Monopoly, and that wasn't in the script. I was playing a lot of Monopoly during the time of making movies, so I just brought in the Monopoly set the day we were filming and thinking, why don't I play Monopoly with Bernie and cheat him? They thought that was fun. And then somebody came up with the idea, well, tie a string on his hand so he waves.
And that got more laughs than anybody else. Oh, my.
Who's next?
My. We had so much fun doing the thing, and as I said, it bonded us all together of us kind of fighting the elements and Ted Kotcheff, and the freedom that we enjoyed with each other as actors and creative artists really made this thing creative
Take it
artist.
easy.
It was a joy. In other words, when we were done with this thing, we all kind of gave a high five and said, "Yep, we did it."
Go ahead, sir.
Yep, my name's Sean. Nice to meet you guys in person. So my question is for John and Andrew. The roof scene towards the beginning of the movie with the tar, was that actually tar? How bad was that to film that part?
It was a shit show.
We shot in the summertime in New York, and the beginning of the movie is supposed to take place during a heat wave. I think heat wave was also the name of the script for a time. It was hot and cold. It was heat wave. It was sitting ducks, and we shot that particular roof scene on a day that was not hot. It was not a hot day. It was a little chilly. It was windy, and so they had to create tar. And yeah, it was a mess. It was a mess and not enjoyable, and things are flying all over the place.
Sir.
My question is for Andrew. What was it like working on St. Elmo's Fire with the Brat Pack and
That's the
everything?
next panel.
Right outside the hall there. The rest of the pass can come in.
Emilio, come on in. It was great. It was a fun gang. It was, we were all aware that we were having a moment, and it was fun. Yeah, they were a great gang.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it in the next panel.
Yeah, Terry, I played a corpse for a half hour in a movie, and it was crazy. Playing it for as long as you did, how did you keep from breathing and moving and stuff?
I didn't. As I said, we were breaking up each other and stuff like that. And the idea of holding something for 2.5 minutes, while the camera was running, was a little precarious sometimes. But I just can't go back to the idea of the fun that the three of us gave each other on this film. I think really was the successful element to make it work.
Question down here.
Hi. Is there like a return of Bernie or anything
I
coming
hope
up?
so.
No?
Bring him back.
Bring him back.
I think it would be really cool.
No, he's
MGM is funny, because we came up with the idea of Bernie does extreme sports, and it was funny, but MGM said no, you guys are too nuts anyway. No.
I think when we folded him up and put him in the suitcase in the second one,
pretty
I
much
thought
killed
that's
it,
when
yeah.
we jumped the shark.
Well, was there any hesitation coming into 2? I mean, 1 was silly, admittedly, but 2 is absurd. It's great, but it's absurd. Was there any hesitancy coming into 2?
I say yes to everything. I thought doing a sequel to this movie was the dumbest thing I've ever heard of, and I just assumed it wasn't going to happen because it was years later. The film came out and did fine, but it started to make a profit, not for us, but it made a profit for somebody years later on HBO and foreign sales, and I think they got a lot of the money from an Italian company. So yeah, a sequel.
I remember who the guy was.
So our producer, whose name is Victor Dre, said in his French Moroccan accent that I'm not going to try and imitate that. We're making another one, and I'm like, oh, great idea. It's a dead guy who's been dead for 5 years now. Let's make it. But they signed Terry. It's a very handsome contract, nice. And they signed Andrew, and I was the holdout. And I went, you're probably not going to make this movie.
Like, you had
Come on.
integrity at that.
I actually did.
Why put the bar there?
It was just that particular time in my career where I was actually, working. So eventually I said yes, and I think Victor said, "Listen, you could take this money and do the role, and no one will ever, think twice about it, or you could say no, and then they'll ask you the rest of your life, how come you weren't in the sequel?" So I said yes, and I bought a house. So
Down here.
So after the years of Bernie being out, there has been so many people that have done Bernie-like things.
Right.
What's that like for you guys to see that this has sort of become iconic?
it doesn't go away. It just doesn't go away. Anytime someone is sick, whether it's Joe Biden, they're dragging him around.
Andy just sent me one It was, John was said, what was that one?
Let's not talk about
Let's
that.
talk about that.
It involved a P. Diddy, and it's not. Yeah, but way too soon, or not soon enough. But yeah, it's amazing, and I know it's been the butt of jokes and Saturday Night Live, and it was even in the RNC. I don't know if it was Cruise or one of these ding dongs, but they started just talking about how the current administration is like Weekend at Bernie's. It just doesn't go away. It's become part of the vernacular.
Well, the moving like Bernie dance trend was 10 years ago or so.
That came 15 years later or something like that. And I get a call and say, they're doing the Bernie dance. And I said, what are you talking about? And they said, and in every disco and stuff, it's the Bernie dance. They're doing this. Are you kidding me? And so we created a Bernie dance.
No, you did.
Well,
the first time Terry got up and did that, I just looked at him and I said, "What the fuck is Terry doing?"
Terry, will you reveal your motivation for this dance, or the character's motivation for this dance?
We always tried to make things real. In other words, not sticky, and because real comes out of. You slip on a banana the seventh time is funnier than the first time that you see the thing. And they said, well, Terry, when the music plays, you have to, get up and start dancing. And I said, well, what does that mean? And so I went back to, 101, and I said, well, where does music start from? Start right here, all right? Get that thing on, that thing. That's how the Bernie dance came.
Down here, sir.
Hi, guys. Nothing but respect to all three of you.
Really?
Really, man. Really. This question is actually for Jonathan. Jonathan, you worked on Give Me a Break, and I just want to know, how was it working with the great late Nell Carter?
Wow.
Nell was, my God, what a talent. I was 18 years old, and I had very few credits. I had done a play. As a matter of fact, the producers of Give Me a Break saw me in this play and wrote what was going to be a one-episode, guest star appearance playing a character named Jonathan. And I had fun. I'd never done, 4 cameras before. It was a live audience. It was interesting. And then I guess the ratings were particularly good of that one appearance. So then they asked me suddenly to come back as a regular. But Nell was she was amazing talent. That was a blast. Long time ago. Sorry, I don't have any funny stories.
Do we have any other questions right now? Right in the back of it. We have time for 2 more quick questions.
Real quick. You each had very different roles. What prep did you do, especially Bernie, to be a slimy insurance ripoff agent, gangster?
Slimy insurance ripoff?
Sorry, politician.
I thought he was a nice guy. I think the whole idea, of the setup, him at the beginning of the movie coming out of the bathroom. Wow. Hi, boys. And that kind of started it off. In other words, I think he was, these guys made him into a slime ball, which he kind of was, but a fun slime ball, so.
A dead slime ball.
A dead slime ball.
I just based my guy on a friend of mine. I just dressed like my friend with purple Condor, purple high tops and the t-shirts and the shorts, and I just said, "This is Eddie." And I just based him on my friend.
That's true.
And does Eddie know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's still your
friend?
friend?
He hasn't spoken to me since.
That's funny. Yeah, I was a very serious young actor in those days, and so stupid. But I said, insurance. I don't really know much about insurance, because knowing about insurance would be very important for this role. And I knew somebody who put me in touch with their insurance agent and said, "Can I follow you for the day and watch you do whatever it is you do?" It helped me not at all. But that was my prep work. And then I drank a lot of scotch.
We got one more question. They have one in the back.
Hi, you're all wonderful, and Weekend at Bernie's is wonderful. But this is for Andrew for the movies Mannequin. Was that difficult working with mannequins, pretending that they're real?
I've worked with worse actors. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, we can't thank you enough. I know you guys got to fly. So please give a hand for Andrew McCarthy, Terry Kiser, and Jonathan Silverman.
This is John Glover, and you are watching Fandom Spotlight. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Lionel Luther recommends it. Have some fun. Follow your fandom.